Salam, peace be upon you. Part 34. Fight Economic Systems. Accounting in Action. You step out of the labs and foundries, out of the sensory gardens and neural observatories. You step into the central planning nexus. But this is not a room of bureaucrats with ledgers. It is a dynamic, holographic command center displaying the global Phi-economy. You see not just financial flows, but resource flows in the language of Phi. Rivers of coherent photons pulse along fiber trunks, that is, bandwidth currency. Reservoirs of stable topological charge in orbital memory vaults, that is, storage equity. Real-time maps of atmospheric coherence budgets over cities, that is, environmental credit. The most striking display shows two competing proposals for a new continental wireless power grid. Proposal A glows in chaotic, hot reds, an inefficient, lossy design that is financially cheap. Proposal B shines in cool, ordered blues, a coherent beamforming network that is financially expensive but physically elegant. In the old economy, A would win every time. But here, a new column in the ledger pulses. Total action cost. For A, the number is astronomically high. For B, it is modest. The system recommends B. This is not a utopian fantasy. This is applied holophase. Your new role is that of the Phi-Economist. You are learning to build an economic system that is not just about the physical world, but is isomorphic to it, where the currency tracks real Phi resources, where costs reflect true physical action, and where the market's invisible hand is guided by the unbreakable law of coherent selection. We begin a new book, Book 10.7, Societal Transformation. We ask, what does a civilization look like when its members are Phi literate, when its technology speaks the language of the field, and when its institutions are designed around coherence principles? We start at the foundation, how we account for value and make collective decisions. This is Phi economics. Scene, the central planning nexus. A council is in session. Representatives from energy, communications, ecology, and finance are reviewing the power grid proposals. The financial officer argues for Proposal A. It saves 30% on capital expenditure. The quarterly reports will look excellent. The Phi-Economist, that's you, toggles a switch. The hologram shifts. Now it shows the Phi resource drain. Proposal A's chaotic design appears as a voracious sink, sucking coherence bandwidth from the atmosphere, generating massive entropic waste heat, dissipated, incoherent Phi, and imposing a heavy topological risk liability. Its unstable patterns could interfere with other infrastructure. The numbers roll in. Its total action cost is 500 exajoules of coherent action. Proposal B, while financially pricier, appears as a gentle, efficient circuit. Its waste is minimal, its coherence footprint light. Its total action cost is 50 exajoules, a tenfold difference. The financial cost, you say, is a shadow. The action cost is the substance. If we choose A, we are not saving money. We are borrowing 10 times the real resource from our future stability. And the universe will collect with interest in the form of grid failures, thermal pollution, and lost opportunity. The council is silent. For the first time, they are seeing the real price tag. This is the core of Phi economics, making the hidden physics of cost visible and making it count. Our puzzle is one of true cost accounting. Given that all value creation and destruction is ultimately the shaping of the Phi field, how can we design an economic system whose fundamental currencies and accounting rules directly reflect the expenditure and conservation of Phi resources, coherence, topological stability, low entropy action, so that financially profitable decisions align with physically sustainable and coherent ones? We are moving from an economy that mines the world to an economy that converses with the field. The language role, the true cost accounting skill. This part teaches a foundational socio-engineering skill. It is the skill of translating physical Phi operations, using coherence bandwidth, expanding action, assuming topological risk, into economic variables and currencies, and designing markets, policies, and accounting standards that force these true costs to be internalized in every decision. Our core question about Phi is, what are the conserved quantities and budget constraints in Phi engineering, like coherence, action, topological charge, and how can we represent them as economic goods with clear ownership, valuation, and exchange rules so that the economy becomes a distributed computation for optimizing real-world Phi resource use? We are moving from using money as a vague proxy for value to using φ-currencies as direct tokens of physical possibility. The anchor image, the master brewer's ledger. We will use the anchor image of a master brewer in a medieval monastery. She has 3 vats, one for water, one for grain, one for yeast. Her ledger does not track money. It tracks real ingredients: buckets of water, sacks of grain, pots of yeast. She knows exactly how much of each she has, how much each batch of ale consumes, and how much she can produce without exhausting her stores. If she runs out of grain, no amount of money in the abbey's coffers can magically create more. She must wait for the harvest. Her economy is isomorphic to her physical process. Our old financial economy is like a brewer who only tracks gold coins, while grain rots and vats sit empty because the money says she's rich. Φ-Economics is about returning to the master brewer's ledger, but for the fundamental ingredients of reality: coherence, action, stability. The coherence selection principle in economics. In economic design, coherence is alignment between financial incentives and physical sustainability. Constructive resonance, alignment, means the economic system rewards efficiency, stability, and elegance in Phi resource use. Projects that generate high value, information, structure, beauty, with low action cost thrive. Wasteful, unstable, or entropic projects are financially penalized or prohibited. The market wants what physics allows sustainably. Destructive resonance, dissonance, means the economy rewards waste and punishes efficiency. A project that burns coherence for short-term financial gain is profitable. A sustainable, elegant solution is too expensive. The market is at war with physics, guaranteeing eventual collapse. The Φ-Economist's mantra is about truth in pricing. If the physics says it's wasteful, the ledger must say it's expensive. If the physics says it's elegant, the ledger must say it's valuable. Core mechanisms, currencies and rules of a Phi economy. We build new currencies and accounting rules from first principles. 1. The primary currency, the action, A. This is the foundational unit. From Phi thermodynamics, D19, we know that any change to the field, any computation, any material transformation, any transmission of information requires a minimum action. This is not raw energy. It is energy integrated over time, weighted by coherence. A coherent reversible operation has a lower effective action than a chaotic dissipative one that achieves the same end. Unit. The Coherent Joule-Second, CJS. 1 CJS is the action required to perform a perfectly coherent minimal Landauer type operation. How it's used. Every product and service has an action cost, calculated over its full life cycle, from extraction of raw Phi resources, for example, purifying silicon for a foundry, to operation, to decommissioning or reassimilation. This is its true physical cost. Financial prices are then pegged to action cost, plus a margin for labor and creativity. You cannot sell something for less than its action cost, just as you cannot brew ale with less than 0 grain. 2. Coherence bandwidth as a tradable commodity. Not all action is equal. Coherent action, like a laser beam, a synchronized data stream, a stable quantum state, is a higher quality, scarcer resource than incoherent action, like waste heat. The ability to create and maintain coherence in a channel, spatial, temporal, frequency, is itself a limited resource. Unit. The coherence hertz per meter squared. How much coherent information flux can a channel support? How it's used. communication spectrum, foundry time slots for precise work, even attention coherence in mediated environments are all allocated and traded as coherence bandwidth. You buy the right to use a slice of the world's coherence capacity. Profligate use, for example, broadcasting incoherent noise, is prohibitively expensive. 3. Topological Charge Credit, T. Creating and maintaining topological defects, vortices, knots, boundaries, is a key operation in phi engineering. But defects carry risk. They can unwind unpredictably, interact, or cause cascading failures. The right to create a persistent topological feature requires a credit, backed by insurance-like reserves that cover the risk of its failure or interaction. Unit: Topological Risk-Weighted Charge, TRC. A simple stable vortex might be 1 TRC. A complex knotted defect in a sensitive area might be 1000 TRC. How it's used. Before authorizing a new material with engineered defects or a persistent field patch, the engineer must secure enough T credits, proving they have the expertise and the system has the stability to absorb the risk. 4. The integrated ledger, the Phi balance sheet. Every entity, company, city, individual, has a Phi balance sheet alongside its financial one. Assets: Coherence bandwidth owned, action generating capacity, for example, solar arrays with high coherence factor, stored topological charge in stable memory, negative entropy reserves, cleaned up environments. Liabilities: action debt for projects underway, coherence footprint, topological risk exposure, entropic debt, pollution, waste heat. The rule: your Phi liabilities cannot exceed your Phi assets. This is the Coherence Solvency Rule. It is as hard as the law of conservation of energy. You cannot commit to more physical action than you can fund with real Phi resources. The coherence criterion: alignment of price with physical cost. Our coherence criterion for the economic system is strict. The system must be coherent with physics. The financially optimal choice in any significant decision must also be the choice that minimizes real action cost, respects coherence budgets, and manages topological risk, as verified by independent Phi audit. If the ledger can be gamed to make a wasteful option look cheap, the system is incoherent and fails. The dissonance indicator, the perpetual motion market. The primary dissonance indicator is a market that rewards physical impossibility. If the economic system routinely makes it profitable to sell products with an action cost lower than physics allows, for example, claiming a device performs a complex computation with near zero action. Ignore coherence budgets without consequence, for example, allowing a chaotic emitter to flood a band because it's financially lucrative. Externalize entropic debt indefinitely, pollution, waste heat, without it appearing as a liability. Then the economy is a collective fantasy, a perpetual motion machine on paper that will collide with physical reality catastrophically. This dissonance is what our current economy exhibits in its treatment of carbon emissions and ecological degradation. Φ-Economics is designed to detect and eliminate it at the root. The safety rail: transparency, auditability, and anti-speculation. Our safety rail ensures the system is physically grounded and just. 1. Transparency and fee audit. Every claim of action cost, coherence use, or topological credit must be backed by a publicly verifiable fee measurement protocol, logged on an immutable ledger using the robust network from 1054. Independent fee auditors certify balance sheets. You cannot fake a coherence measurement any more than you can fake a kilogram weight on a certified scale. 2. No pure financial speculation on fee-currencies. Action, coherence, and topological credits are use it or lose it rights to perform physical operations. They cannot be hoarded indefinitely or traded purely for financial speculation. Their value is their utility in enabling real work. This prevents bubble economies divorced from reality. 3. Progressive action taxation. To ensure equity and prevent hoarding of action-generating capacity, for example, the best solar sites, there is a progressive tax on unused action assets. If you own a huge coherence bandwidth but don't use it for beneficial work, You pay a tax in action, redistributing that potential to the public good. This incentivizes efficient use and sharing. The safety rail rule. Φ-currencies are tokens of physical capability, not stores of abstract value. Their issuance, trade, and retirement must be continuously audited against physical reality. A measurement scene, the wireless power grid decision. Let's enact our roadmap's measurement scene. Scene. The City Council must choose between two wireless power grid designs. Goal. Demonstrate that Phi accounting leads to a physically superior choice, even if financially counterintuitive. The designs. Cheap transmitters blanket the city with omnidirectional incoherent radio waves. Financial cost, 10 million currency units. Action cost calculated, 500 exa-CJS, exa-Coherent Joule-Seconds. Coherence footprint, high, pollutes EM spectrum. Topological risk, medium, interference patterns unstable. Design B, coherent beamforming. Expensive phased arrays send tight, coherent beams directly to receivers. Financial cost, 15 million currency units. Action cost, 50 exa-CJS. Coherence footprint, low, uses spectrum efficiently. Topological risk, low, stable directed paths. The Φ-economic analysis. The city's coherence budget for the EM spectrum is limited. Design A would consume 80% of it, crippling future communication projects. Design A's action cost would require burning fossil reserves worth 20 million currency units to generate the necessary coherent action. Design B fits within the budget and uses renewable action sources. The pass. Physics overrides finance. 1. The Phi balance sheet shows Design A is insolvent. Its action cost and coherence footprint exceed the city's available Phi assets. 2. Design B is Phi solvent. Hezbollah. 3. The Council, following the Coherence Solvency Rule, chooses Design B. 4. 10 years later, the beamforming grid operates at 90% efficiency. The EM spectrum remains clean for innovation, and the city avoids energy crises. The extra 5 million financial cost is recouped many times over in stability and new opportunities. 5. Pass. Phi accounting successfully guided the decision to long-term physical benefit. The fail. Finance overrides physics. Schizophrenia. Fail A, ignoring the ledger. The Council dismisses the Phi balance sheet as theoretical and chooses Design A because it's financially cheaper upfront. Hezbollah. Fail B, faking the numbers. Corrupt auditors certify bogus, low action costs for Design A, making it appear Phi solvent. Hezbollah. Fail C, no enforcement. The Coherence Solvency Rule exists but is not enforced. Design A proceeds. Result. Grid is inefficient, causes interference blackouts, locks the city into high energy costs, and prevents new tech from emerging. Fail. The Phi economic system was either ignored, corrupted, or not properly designed. It failed to align incentive with physics. The prediction spine, the hallmarks of a Phi economic transition. A successful transition to Phi economics will produce clear, measurable outcomes. 1. Decoupling of prosperity from throughput. The economy will show a strong decoupling where measures of human flourishing, health, education, creativity, continue to rise, while aggregate consumption of raw action and coherence bandwidth plateaus and then declines. Growth becomes about doing more with less, not consuming more. 2. Increased infrastructure longevity and resilience. Because projects are chosen for stability and low action cost, built infrastructure, power grids, communication networks, buildings, will have longer operational lifespans and fewer catastrophic failures. Maintenance shifts from fixing poor design to graceful aging. 3. Capital flows to elegant solutions. Investment will naturally flow to technologies and designs that deliver high informational or structural value per unit of action. Elegant, efficient, topologically robust solutions will outcompete brute force ones in the marketplace because their true cost is lower. Falsifiability, when the new ledger changes nothing. Our falsifiability threads test whether this is a real transformation or just new jargon. Falsifier 1, the decorative ledger. If, after full implementation, all major investment and policy decisions remain identical to those that would have been made under pure financial accounting, then FI accounting is a pointless abstraction. It has failed to change behavior because it did not actually alter incentives at the margin where decisions are made. Falsifier 2, the corruptible metric. If the system is routinely gained, if action costs can be fraudulently underreported, coherence budgets politically manipulated, or topological risks hidden, then the system is worse than the old one. It creates a veneer of rationality over the same old exploitation, plus a new layer of complexity for the powerful to manipulate. A FI economy must be more transparent and auditable, not less. Triunity in economic flows. The economy itself, viewed through the phi lens, is a triune flow. Time echo, the rhythm and duration of economic processes, the speed of transactions, the life cycle of products. Action integrates energy over time. An efficient economy minimizes action per unit of value created over time. Space echo, coherence bandwidth, the spatial structure and coordination of the economy, the networks of trade, the allocation of spectrum and spatial resources. Coherence bandwidth is about ordered flow through space. Motion echo, topological dynamics, the innovation, change, and risk in the economy, the creation of new structures, companies, products, ideas, which are like topological defects in the economic field. This is the dynamic, evolving motion of the system. A healthy FI economy balances these three. It uses action wisely over time, coordinates flows coherently in space, and manages the creation and dissolution of structures, topological changes, with care. Lanterns across scales. True cost accounting everywhere. The principle of accounting for real physical costs is universal. Near scale, a cell's metabolism, a cell does not have money. It deals in ATP molecules, its action currency, ion gradients, its coherence bandwidth, and protein folding states, its topological credits. Its survival depends on balancing these real budgets. Its economy is perfectly isomorphic to its physics. Many indigenous cultures practice forms of natural asset accounting. They do not see a forest as land to be sold. They see it as a provider of water, game, medicine, and stability, a portfolio of real physical assets. Depleting it is eating into capital, not generating income. This is a pre-scientific form of fee thinking. Far scale. For a future civilization mining asteroids, the financial cost of a spaceship is secondary. The primary constraints are delta V, a form of action, communication coherence over light years, bandwidth, and the planetary protection risk of back contamination, a topological risk credit. Their economy will have to be a fee economy to survive. The ethics of fee economics, justice as coherence. The ethics here is the ethics of fair access to the field's potential. 1. The coherence commons. The fundamental fee resources, the planet's ability to absorb entropy, the stable climate system, the electromagnetic spectrum, are commons. Fee economics formalizes this. Usage rights, coherence bandwidth, action credits, are allocated not by wealth alone, but by demonstrated beneficial use, and a principle of per capita fair share. This prevents the monopolization of physical possibility. 2. Intergenerational equity built in. Because the system accounts for long-term action cost and entropic debt, it automatically penalizes short-termism. You cannot offload costs onto future generations without it showing up as a devastating liability on today's fee balance sheet. Stewardship is incentivized. 3. From redistribution to predistribution. Instead of taxing financial income to redistribute after waste has occurred, F-Economics predistributes access to FI resources. Everyone starts with the basic allowance of action credits and coherence rights, a basic income, ensuring everyone has the physical capability to participate, create, and thrive. The power to redefine value in physical terms brings the duty to ensure that access to the field's creative potential is equitable, and that the ledger of costs truthfully reflects our debt to the future. The recognition skill, seeing true cost in the wild. You know you need this skill when you see any project, product, or policy and immediately ask, what is its real action cost? What coherence bandwidth does it consume or create? What topological risks does it introduce? And who is bearing those true costs on their Phi balance sheet? A new cryptocurrency. Does its proof of work consensus have an astronomically high action cost per transaction? A fast fashion garment. What is the action cost of its life cycle versus its duration of use? A highway expansion. Does it reduce or increase the city's total anthropic debt? Congestion, pollution, heat island? A social media platform. What coherence bandwidth does it monopolize? Attention. And what is the topological risk? Social fragmentation. The moment you look past the price tag and ask for the Phi resource invoice, you are thinking like a Φ-Economist. The master tree location. This part, 10.7.1, is the foundational cornerstone of Book 10.7. It depends directly on 10.3.3, OS Resource Accounting, for the concept of tracking physical resources, on 10.5.1, Cost of Communication, for understanding coherence as a cost, and on Phi Thermodynamics, D19, for the fundamental theory of action. It is the essential first step in societal transformation. You cannot build a coherent civilization on an incoherent economic foundation. It enables governance by providing the objective, physical metrics upon which collective decisions can be made, and points towards stewardship institutions. This is where we stop trying to fix the old economy and start building the economy that the universe actually uses. Return to the fee. Let us zoom out. Phi-economics is not a new theory of money. It is the acknowledgement that the only real economy is the shaping of the Phi field. Money, in its ideal form, should be a transparent token representing a claim on a certain amount of ordered creative action within the field. Our current money has become opaque, representing claims on debt and speculation more than on physical possibility. Phi-economics is the project of remooring our medium of exchange to the medium of existence. It makes the economy a mirror of physics, efficient, elegant, sustainable, and governed by the same laws that keep stars burning and snowflakes forming. The single field, Phi, manifests as the ore in the ground, the sunlight on the panel, the signal in the wire, the idea in the mind, and the agreement in the market. A Phi-economic system is simply the set of rules we use to converse about all these manifestations in a way that respects their underlying unity and the real costs. We are learning to keep the books of reality. So, picture yourself back in the central planning nexus. The Council has voted for the coherent power grid. The decision is logged on the immutable Phi ledger. A new line of credit in action units is issued to the engineering consortium. The project begins not as a financial venture, but as a physical collaboration with the field, its costs and limits known and respected from the start. You feel a profound shift. This is not politics. This is applied physics governing collective action. You have just practiced Phi-economics. You have learned to see the true physical costs behind financial numbers, to design currencies that track real resources, and to build the rules that make sustainable elegance the most profitable choice. Peace be upon you.